So, James, that's your cue. So, this morning, our community voice is coming to us from James Farrow. And since he's deciding to, take the slow way, I'm going to embarrass him. So, James, along with Vanessa and Jana and others, had attended seminary, Fuller Seminary, but he was very quiet about it. We didn't even know about it till he was almost finished, right? And then we were like, yay, James is in seminary too. And we have been able to get him to do a lot of background things like writing devotionals and curriculums and all that, and he's fabulous at it. But the one thing I haven't been able to get him to do is to come up front. I couldn't even get him to be a lay leader. So we're going to invite James to come and share your story.
Good morning, and thanks for letting me come up here. So today I'm going to talk a little bit about what faith means in my life and how it influences it, and I'll conclude with how I see faith continuing in my life. So what do I consider faith? The first question is, why do I even have faith? So in my mind, I think I start with, there is a God, and then I step out on faith that I'm correct about it. So I know I can't create the world, and I know because of that, something greater than me obviously did. And that is one of the biggest reasons why I even attend this church and up here today, because I have that faith. Early in my life, I had a lot of people tell me that I need to believe in a higher power. People offered me different things about what they considered this higher power to be, like healing power or the power of some super person. And with all those options, I started to think, well, any God would do. I can just pick one of these so-called powers and call them God. So which direction did I go? When I gave it a little bit more thought, I realized that by definition, there can only be one God. So there really wasn't a lot of options to go when you really thought about it. So therefore, for me, faith began when I realized that there was just one God. I knew I had the ability to do a lot of things on my own, like walk up here and speak to you guys. So I began to wonder if I really needed this God. Even though I had faith that he existed, I wondered if I actually needed him. But the more I considered the things I was able to do, the more I started to think maybe they actually came from God. And maybe I need him to continue to allow me to do these things. When I started reading the Bible, which is probably at a younger age, I started seeing how God interacted with people in the past and how they interacted back with him. Sometimes they accepted him, sometimes they rejected him. And I saw some of the, I don't know if I want to call them punishments, but the way God reacted when people didn't accept him. And it made me realize maybe God wanted something more from us. So I began to read more. And of course, the more I read, the more I realized just how little I understood this God that I'm reading about. These days, I like having conversations with other people about their faith. And the more I talk to people, the more I realize other folks have similar struggles that I do. What is this faith that I'm supposed to have? And the funny thing is, when I talk to some of these folks, I try to help them understand exactly what it is they're going through. And I use my own experiences. I tell them, well, I went through this and I went through that. They ask me, did I find answers? Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. But I continue on. And a lot of times their thoughts about their faith opened up more questions for me. So it made me ask, what really do I know about God? Now, it might seem like I have a lot of questions, but I do. And sometimes I come up with good answers, and sometimes I just accept the fact that this is something I just don't know. So what are some of the biggest obstacles I see in my faith? The biggest one I see is my doubt. Some days I think, I go back over the years and I wonder, how can I really believe in something that I can barely prove to myself. You know, some of the non-believers questions what I'm doing, and some of these non-believers could be my family and my friends. And then I wonder if people so close to me can question God, should I? Then I'm wondering if I'm making the right choices, and this makes my doubt even grow more. Sometimes I find myself questioning, do I put my friends before my faith? Do I say, well, I know this is wrong, but they're my friends, I'll just do it anyhow. And then I wonder, if I put my faith first, how do I deal with my family? And how do I deal with my friends? And then I have to ask myself, how do I deal with myself? Some days I wonder if God really cares about me. Am I good enough? Why would God want to help a person like me? Then I think, have I failed so many times that he's just going to abandon me, maybe temporarily or maybe permanently? And these type of questions make me feel like giving up. But it's times like this that I question why I had faith to begin with. And the faith comes from knowing that I didn't make myself. I didn't create anything in the world, and a higher power did, and it was only one. So then I asked myself, do I believe because others are following others? Am I like following the crowd? Or do I believe because I know for sure that this God who made me because he wants me to be here? This again reminds me that faith can be kind of lonely at times. The most lonesome part about my faith is when I wonder if doubt will win. I ask myself, will it come a time where I say, I can't do this anymore? Well, I just give up. Then I ask myself questions like, would I die for my faith? Would I want any of you to die for my faith? Could I resort to poverty or begging just to maintain my faith? Would I want to do that? Then I wonder if I'd ever be stuck with such a choice. Would God ever put me in that position? I'm sure in my life, doubt will always come and go. But then when I consider these questions, I realize that without faith, I wouldn't have to deal with anything like this. So how do I see myself maintaining my faith for the rest of my life? I think about what gave me faith to begin with. Is it still there? And did it change? And as we read the Bible, we understand that God does not change. So why would my faith change? I go back to, did I create the world? Can I feed myself? Can I change the amount of light the sun gives? And then I realize God must care because he hadn't changed anything for us. I know there is a God, and I know he will continue to sustain me. And faith helps me sustain that knowledge. It helps me stay grounded when I think that doubt is winning. The Bible helps give me hope. And it helps me understand that death does not end this relationship that God has with us. So in conclusion, what does all this mean? Do I lack faith because I have these questions? I know what I consider faith in God. And I know that the doubt will come and go. I know my own selfishness exists. And I know that some of the things that I think may be the reason I have some of these doubts. Sometimes my family and friends may understand, and sometimes I have to go alone. Faith, however, keeps me moving. I know that God both created and sustains me, and I know I can't do it for myself. I will continue to rely on God through the faith that I have, and I pray that he will continue to show me that he is God. Thanks, guys.